Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cnft.tools Discord server. My name is ToolSin, and I'm joined by the Ancient Dragon Alliance. And I've got at least four members of the team showed up so far. So if you want to introduce yourselves and say hello.
I'm A Sigma. I'm one of the co-founders and project manager. And my real name is Antoine. Just want to put that out there.
My name's Osiris Green, or that's how most people know me in this space. My real name is Jason. Our whole team is doxed and have been pretty well known in the space and doxed across multiple projects for quite a long time.
Hey everyone, my name is Lavender Jones on Discord, but you can call me Josh or Lav. My real name is Josh, and I'm one of the co-founders over at Ancient Dragon Alliance.
Hello, I'm Blaino, or real name Blaine Elferdink. I'm the community manager at Ancient Dragon Alliance.
Oh, hello, everyone, and welcome to the space. I understand you guys have a mint coming up tomorrow, is it?
That is correct, yeah, tomorrow morning, depending on where you are.
So, can I get like the 90-second overall pitch of the project?
Yeah, for sure. So we have two great collections made by beautiful artists. Our first one is our membership token. That's what we're minting tomorrow. They're beautifully rendered 3D relics made by the Leon Art Group. They come with a whole host of utilities. They'll allow you to mint 3 from the primary collection. 50% of their royalties will be reinvested into the project to fund giveaways and raffles for holders. And then there'll also be your holding membership to the tools we're building. The first tool we just released today as a surprise, which is like a floor sniping bot for anything that's listed under the floor on JPEG that was built and coded in-house. And then we have our second collection coming up in later November here. That's actually our primary collection. That's going to be 5,555 human dragon hybrid NFTs. They're beautiful 2D pieces of art made by real-life tattoo artists who also did the work for Frog Factory and Space Pugs Alpha. And then after that, that brings us into one of the first big utilities and events that we're going to host, which is the Clan Wars, which will see 5 clans face off against each other in a variety of events, tasks, contests, and engagements in order to win a minimum of 10,000 ADA every month for the winning clan. And then the top 60 performing players across all clans will also get rewarded. The mint tomorrow is for 1,500 pieces. The Dragon Relics mint for 95 ADA a piece on public, or 85 ADA a piece if you have the whitelist or OG rules. There's a lot more to the project than that, but to keep it in a 90-second pitch, that's the rough outline for sure.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like we've got a lot to get unpacking over the next hour or so. So, how much are the OG pieces tomorrow?
So for whitelist and OG in our 3-hour whitelist minting window, they're 85 ADA each. And then when public launches, they'll be 95 ADA each.
And what time is the whitelist launch, and what time is the public launch?
So the whitelist launch is 12:30 p.m. UTC to 3:30 p.m. UTC. And public will start shortly after that. We'll need 10, maybe 20 minutes for a changeover to change the minting address and receiving, and then public will launch after that.
Sounds good. Is there still any opportunities to get on the whitelist? I mean, we're kind of like the night before mint, so I'm not expecting many now, but is there still a chance?
No, at this stage, whitelist is closed, unfortunately. We extended that multiple times as late as we could into the day this morning. But yeah, whitelist is now closed.
Okay. So, how long ago did the project start forming in the co-founders' minds?
So I think we all kind of had an idea to create something in the space, but this project particularly started the beginning of this year, Q1. I'd say what, around March time, Antoine, Jason.
Yeah,
So
right.
it started around Q1. When we started discussing the project and start creating an inception of it and what it would look like. Um, Start writing out some of the more specific details, like coming up with the name and stuff, probably early Q2, like around April or so. Getting a team together, getting members on, starting outsourcing certain tasks and stuff like that around that time, around April and May.
So how many of you guys are on the team now?
So you have the core team, which is made up of uh, us four and Marty, who unfortunately isn't able to be here right now. He's our we call him a media manager, but he's so much more than that. Um, he's so much more than that. So you have us five. We're part of the core team. We basically run the project on different aspects, and then you have when you say team, I'm counting out mods also. You have Professor Z, Max the Playboy, Rastral, Lady Eth, Pink Queen. We have a great source of mods. We can't leave them out as far as being part of the team. Then we have our artists. They're part of the team. The fact that how good they work together with us. Our 3D artist, Mirad, he's our main contact for the Leon Art Group. Working close with him as far as the development of the 3D artifacts, the relics, and you have our 2D artists, which is OB, One Art, NFT Tom, and Pennywise. As Jason said before, they're the artists for Space Pugs, Alpha, and Frog Factory. And we have our devs, which are Plexus Labs, and we have our historian. Like our team is pretty large, but that's the basis of the team. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. We have more writers, and yeah, we have an extensive team, which is awesome.
Is Crypto Stonkers part of the team? I see he's asking to come up.
He's no, he's a die-hard member and an absolute amazing community member of our project for sure.
Nice. Every project needs one or 100 of those guys. That's for sure. So is there a story-driven element behind the dragons?
Absolutely. So when we decided to go with dragons specifically in the space, we went with that route because of our love of dragons and the stories that you can tell within that realm. And that was really one of the first things that we started working on because we got lost in the creative process of creating a world around these dragons. So yeah, there is a cohesive story that will come out intentionally over the next few weeks as we near our main collection mints. That will tell the story of how the dragons came to be, what led them pretty much all the way to where we are today in the present world.
Nice. So you mentioned that you just released a sniping tool. So how sort of like where did this fit into your plans, and how does that all work?
So one of the ethoses of our, or like the ethos of our project, the way that we kind of want to do things a lot of the time is we want to be able to build things and deliver them to the community without talking about them for a long time beforehand. We kind of want to prove that we're a project that delivers instead of one that talks, right? Um, and that's really, really something we want to focus on. Like a lot of times in projects, you'll have them mint, but then you'll have to wait, months and months before you can partake in the project or see any development or use anything the project has to offer. We've put a lot of development and effort into building things to be ready early. And then while we're delivering those, we're going to be continuing to work on other things that we can deliver, so that way there's not 3-6 months of waiting for the project to develop. That's why we spent so long building the project before launching it, because as community NFT fanatics ourselves, we're pretty in tune with what communities expect from NFT projects, right? Like Blano and I have been community managers in some pretty high profile projects across the Cardano space, from like Lazy Llamas to Outer Space Society, Lion Legends, Boss Down, a bunch of different places. And our main focus has always been helping and supporting the community. And then we wanted to bring that whole concept into an NFT project, right? So the floor sniping tool is something that we delivered by surprise to kind of really get the community the impression that we're not going to talk about things, we're actually going to do them. That was coded and built in-house. It's running right now as a sample test for everyone who has our OG and chosen role. And then of course, once we're minting and post mint, it'll be strictly for holders of our NFTs, right? And that's only one of many things to come for the project. So we're really excited. The 3D relics, the ancient dragon relics you're minting tomorrow, will also have a lot of really cool utilities and functionalities. Like right after mint, we're going to show you how to upgrade them, so you're going to get better effects and visuals and better sound in the 3D NFT, which is really cool. That's going to come with some boosted utility, where they'll be weighted 2 times in the raffles that are funded by 50% of the secondary royalties. They'll allow you to mint 4 instead of 3 from our primary collection. And then we still have a little bit of a secret for that too, heading towards our primary mint for something that you've probably never done with an NFT before, let alone one that looks as cool as our relics do. So yeah, it's all part of the ethos and how we want to deliver that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly very impressive, and yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Is there going to be any rarities in the items that you're dropping tomorrow, or is it like everything's going to be the same?
So for rarity, oh, go ahead, Lav. You can take this one.
We're too in sync, Jason. So yes, to answer your question simply, yes, there will be a rarity of sorts. So there's 3 different types of our relics. You have the stone, you have the marble, and you have the obsidian. Obsidian will be the rarest technically, because there'll be the least amount within that 1500 collection, and then it goes down from there. And then if you upgrade your statues, it would be the same thing. So if you have an upgraded obsidian, that will be your most rare per se. The rarity that you'd find on something like CNFT tools that a lot of people look for, that will be in our main collection, where we have 180 traits, and those traits will have that specific rarity behind them.
Yeah, so
And
yeah, go on.
just to clarify, even though we have rarity between the stone relic, the marble relic, and the obsidian relic, that's just for collectability and a little bit of variation, a little bit of enjoyment. They all have the exact same utility.
Very nice, very nice. So, how long ago did the sniping tool launch now?
Oh, what is it?
This morning.
Yeah, like 5 hours?
Oh wow, oh wow.
But it's
Yeah, it's a brand new alpha. That's fresh. Just
That's
today.
pretty awesome.
Nobody even knew about it till we dropped it on the
Exactly.
community today.
It's been something that Marty has been working on for the last year, give or take, to really work out the coding behind that. And what is released now is just the tip of the iceberg of what we plan to do with it in the near future.
Yeah, so I mean, how long did that process of learning about how to code it and then actually coding it take?
Well, Marty and I actually, like, he's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a couple of decades now, but we got into crypto probably about a year ago, and kind of found our way into Cardano slowly. So he's the basis of which, like, he's using to code what is there now started about a year ago. The code that he's using right now that we're doing for this spot specifically just kind of leveraged a lot of what he's built along the way, like the kind of suite of tools that he's been building. And there's, like they're saying, a lot more to come outside of what this one tool does right now. There's going to be a lot more utility and a lot more different aspects of market tools we're looking to provide our holders with over time.
So, how did it feel to be able to roll that out to your community? And has it received much use yet? Have you had much feedback?
Yeah, so far the feedback's good. I don't think too many people have had a chance to really use it a lot yet since we just dropped it, probably, I think it was, I mean, I'm looking at my time, so probably 6, 7 hours ago, something like that, I think. But it's real nice because what it does effectively, right, is it takes a look at all the new listings that go on jpeg.store through an API, and it runs like basically a check to see that based on what it knows was the lowest floor price available in that policy ID, was that new posting below the floor price? And if so, then go ahead and post in this channel. So it allows like our community to just kind of take a look at an active feed that just continuously posts new listings, I mean, immediately when they hit that like lower the floor price. So anything that's lowering the floor price of a collection, you just will see pop up in that thing. So you could just sit there and leave it on. And if you see something that piques your interest that looks like an incredible deal, you can just click it and it takes you straight to jpeg.store. And it also has like a kind of listing information. It pulls a rarity from CNFT Jungle, like their little rarity rankings statistically. It's got a bunch of like info in there, including what the listing price is, what the former floor prices, all that sort of stuff. And then there'll be even more coming in the future as we kind of build out more utility surrounding this and then offer other things in the future.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Can you like filter it to only show certain projects, or is it just like every single project on the space?
Right now, it's every single project in the space. Some of that filtering is something that I would say like will probably. I don't want to give too much away, right? Like we've got a lot more coming, but right now this is like the most base level, which is basically just a feed of everything that's posted below the floor. We'll say that.
Nice. I mean, yeah, it's yeah. How's that feeling of rolling it all out and like the sense of achievement of getting it to the community?
I think, especially this week specifically, and not just this sniping tool, we've been working on this for so long, and we all have formulated such a deep friendship on top of everything that we've been doing and all of the hours of work, all of the energy that we put out to now be on that final threshold to be as front facing as we always wanted to be. It feels so amazing to finally share with our community and the Cardano space what we've been working on for so long. So yeah, it feels great. I feel like a kid on Christmas morning, right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it's
no, I was just gonna say I couldn't be more excited, right? Like how many times have you seen a project that's not only pre-mint their main collection, but pre-mint their Genesis token membership collection and delivers a functional, actual utility and a tool for the public to use, right? Like I couldn't be more proud or more excited to deliver something like that as an added value for our holders, let alone, the culmination of all of our work going into our main mint or our relic mint tomorrow, right? Like it's incredibly exciting. And this is just the beginning, right? Like we're a new project. Not a ton of people know about us yet, or what we're capable of, or what we're doing. So tomorrow's the launching of us really getting to be known in the space and continuing to build the community into minting our primary collection in November, right? So yeah, I couldn't be more excited or more happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite impressive that you've all got the time to be here the night before Mint, to be honest. I mean, there's always like a million things to be sorted out last minute, and you guys are all here happy and chilling out and putting it out there for the world to see.
That takes that comes with months of preparation and intentionality. There was no off time of building this project from the very beginning, from its inception. So we've almost earned that right to have a little fun with you today, but don't get it twisted. There is still a lot of work that we have all planned out on a timeline and have from the very beginning.
Oh, but just know we're gonna be partying like rock stars tomorrow in our Discord. So definitely make sure if y'all have any spare time, you're not going to see NFT Con. Make sure y'all hop in our Discord because we gonna be live all day.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking through the artwork as we've been talking, and some of it's actually really impressive. I mean, I've always been a dragon lover myself. The way that you combine the dragon look with the human look as well, I think is very very nicely, and I think your artist deserves a big round of applause.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what's even more insane is that that's just a glimpse. So lots of times, right? We know these uh, we know a lot of projects, they'll try to showcase their best early to really get people in. And this is just one. This is just not, it's not even like the best that and of course it's subjective and all of those different things, but based off of what people like to see, man, when that collection come out, it's just going to be insane. People is going to be all over it. People going to like they're just gonna be blown away with a lot of the traits. They definitely working hard. They actually at Cnft Con now. They're gonna be doing tattoos tomorrow and showcasing a lot of their work and stuff at Cnft Con. But yeah, they definitely did a great job. And it's not to say that Frogs and Pugs was not a great looking project. You look down there, Wildcat Mike, that's a great looking pug. But they said it themselves, like this is their best work yet, and we clearly see it. Of course, we see a lot more than you guys, but you will see it. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean the textures involved and the skin tones and the way the shading and the shadowing's done, it's highly impressive. It has to be said.
Yeah, well, that's the
Absolutely. Go
benefit of
ahead.
going with a tattoo artist, that they, because of the way that they have to kind of layer things in the skin, right? And it's all permanent, like you're getting the best of the best when you go with the tattoo artist, personally, I feel like. And they're really good at what they do, and they really put their heart and soul into this collection. And I mean, personally, I think it shows. I feel it when I look at these things. Like they kind of move me, right? Like it's cool, and I can't wait for everybody to see it in its full form. But I mean, tomorrow specifically with the relics themselves, like I love the relics, like the obsidian one specifically, and then when you look at the heritage upgrades we have with the special effects and the lightning, it's beautiful. Like all of our art is top tier.
Yeah. So do you want
And
to tell me a little bit about the upgrading of the of the tokens?
So after Mint, we're going to release some info on how you can upgrade your relics from the Ancient Dragon relics into the Heritage Dragon relics. That upgrade in utility and the NFT itself, the details for that will come out post Mint, but it won't cost you any ADA or anything. Like you're not going to have to. It's not going to be like an additional mint or anything. But yeah, all of those details will come out post Mint here pretty quick.
just
Nice.
know we want to make it as easy on you as possible. And I'll leave it at that.
So are you guys taking care of the mints yourself, or have you partnered with a minting partner?
So we've partnered with Perplexus Labs, who I've known in this space for a really long time. They're very confident devs. They run great scripts. They allow us to customize the generation of our NFT collection as well, so we can take all of the traits produced by our artists, and then they can code specific kinds of generations. So like we can We can even make, like, we'll have our one of ones as every collection should, but then we'll be able to build like what we call like perfect combos, in the sense that we'll be able to kind of custom create certain combinations of traits that have really unique and amazing looks and that kind of stuff. And then most of the collection will be randomly generated. But they offer a whole suite of services that oftentimes are difficult to find. Like, not a lot of people know this, but like when generating NFTs, typically you have to assign like sort of a luck percentage for something to be generated in the collection and for a trait to show up. And instead of just doing that, not only can we do that, but we can actually like specify like specific numbers of traits exactly if we want them, and like all sorts of different stuff. And then their minting service works really well, right? It's super clean, super tight. There's no Franken address minting. There's there's no real way to cheat the system. We're also going to be able to do mobile friendly mint, so we'll be dropping a separate address in its own line for everyone who's at Cnft Con and anyone who's minting from mobile. They're whitelist too, unlike some other minting solutions that have had issues with whitelist. Like their whitelist is completely locked down. It's perfectly functional. I couldn't be more impressed with the work that they do. They've done work for other projects in the past. They're just starting to form their own like solution services business as Perplexus Labs. So this is one of their debut projects, so to speak, with minting. But yeah, we're going to be recommending them to everybody, and hopefully they become a lot more well known and well used in the space for sure.
Yeah, one thing to add to that too, right? Like I almost compare it to like when you get a suit. Like you can buy a suit off the rack, but I feel like Perplexus Labs is almost like, getting a bespoke fitted suit, right? Like they allow you to customize so much stuff, and that's really, they make it easy for you, right? It's not like a cookie cutter kind of service. And so that's it's been a dream. Like I've worked with some really great people in this space. Like I've done, Mint City, now Yepple, right? And they're great. But Perplexus Labs is really great at like customization, personalization, and like they really take their time with you. And that's the part, is like that personal touch and like figuring out the right kind of tool for the job and what you're trying to do and how to do it in the best way. They're experts at that. Really great.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows. If anyone's got any questions for the team or anything like that, fire them into NFT chat, and I'll make sure that the team get a chance to answer. Obviously, this is an AMA, so all questions are welcome. So obviously you've launched a sniping tool and everything like that, and obviously we hope that's going well. So what's the first event after the mint?
So the first event would be, like Jason said earlier, releasing the info as far as how you can get the heritage relics. That event would be followed by preparing and start releasing info like our light paper and the clan wars. That's and then of course your normal Discord events that we would do to make sure we keep engagement up inside the Discord and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So right after mint, like Antwain just said, you'll be able to upgrade your heritage relics. But then separate from that, raffles and prizes will start to be funded by secondary, as well as some of the money from the sale will be put into hosting different events as well. So we're going to have different competitions and contests for more creative stuff as well. Do all these fun self-expression types of things in the project, as well as we start to market our primary collection coming up in November as well.
yeah. So what's your plans for other releases for the community? Because obviously we've done the sniping tool, and that's either already is awesome or going to be awesome. Do you have sort of like more plans in the works for releasing different types of utility for your holders?
So we have plans for lots of kinds of stuff. We put out what we do very intentionally because we want the community to be focused primarily on what we're delivering first. So that'll be coming up into our light paper and our clan paper, which is going to cover all the clan wars details because it's a quite involved document that's going to highlight the entire structure of how it functions. The clan wars itself will have like a 1 week period of like a drafting and being able to pick like which clans you are, or if you're drafted, depending on what you hold and how the council works and all of that kind of stuff. Part of the reason why we're also called the Ancient Dragon Alliance is because we're going to be featuring other partner projects to do great work in the space, but maybe don't always get the attention that they deserve, who also have amazing communities. We're going to take them on as partner projects. Holding some of their NFTs throughout the clan wars can help booster points and stuff in certain situations. So we're going to be able to highlight some of that. Other utilities we'll have is like Answain and Josh here, Lavender and Adubs, sorry. They are also the hosts of a great podcast called Collective Conversations. That's going to be coming out soon as well. So Collective Conversations, their first season earlier in the year, held historic interviews with really great projects like Ada Invaders. Like we had Jim from Ada Invaders and OSS and Space Pugs and Adam and like everybody before these projects became really, really big, right? And a lot of other projects, Bad Fox Motorcycle Club, when they were just getting going. And they were just incredible historic interviews, in our opinion. They'll be firing up season 2 as well. A lot of like the utility stuff and a lot of the stuff that we plan on delivering, though, is not something like, unless we've released it to the public, it's something that's going to get delivered as opposed to talked about and promised about a whole bunch before. I always try to avoid saying this, but a lot of people say, this like under promise and over deliver thing. We're kind of in the same in the sense that like we don't want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We would rather deliver it and show that we can do it and get it out there, right? And then promote it is really what we want to focus on for sure. So there are lots of other avenues we're investigating and looking at for deliverables, but until we're not only confident that we can deliver them, but we're ready to deliver them, we probably won't be hyping them up a bunch for a long time beforehand.
No, that definitely makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure the community will appreciate your dedication to getting things out the door. So you've said a couple of times about clan wars and stuff like that, and obviously you've just mentioned that you're bringing other projects on board as well. How many different clans are there going to be?
So I'll do a quick rundown of like kind of sort of like a mild structure of what the clan war looks like. So basically it's going to be 5 clans, and every single month these clans going to be battling out. It's going to be a legit straight up competition. The war themselves will be ranked monthly, but the actual missions that the clans will be performing and different things like that, and all of those different activities and stuff will take a course of 3 weeks per month. The extra time will be for setting up and closing out that month clan wars, and of course allocating the 10K reward to the winning clan. This is, mind you, this is just one of our utilities, but it's one of our featured utilities. And it's going to cover so much. It's going to cover things like marketing, floor volatility, like Jason said, building alliance and with different projects within the space. Also bring awareness to the CNFT space. Like we have plans on making sure that we are in these different avenues where we can reach out to more people to come into the space, in the CNFT space more specifically. Also entertainment, putting people's skills on display, having different competition, whether that's art, gaming, or different things like that. Like it's really deep. It's going to be really fun. Like the idea is to create an experience but also had a competition side, whereas though people have a chance to not just be involved and do all these things that they might do some here, some there. Those projects, they do all these things here in our project and actually have fun with it and can get rewarded for it. Also creates relationships inside the Discord. You know, we talk about building communities, and what's a better way than to build a competition where you had to get pretty close with your team in order to structure the way and to help you win. Um, that's how many of us got close and learned different people in the space by dealing with them on different capacities, whether that was working with them or just chatting with them in a particular project. Now imagine actually being in a competition with a team, and it builds that rapport inside the community where people will know each other. They'll know what A Dub's like or what Max dislikes is, different things like that. They'll know how many kids that Professor Z have or don't have. Like, you know, we're building a real community and experience where people will want to be in our project just to hang out, not even including all of the wonderful utility that we add with it. So the Clan Wars is like a true feature utility that we provide for the project.
Yeah, so I mean, what kind of different activities are people going to have to do for the Clan Wars?
So those goals is a good way to kind of look at it. We kind of don't want to put it out there too early, because we will have again the clan paper that will explain all of those different things, but you can kind of imagine, right? Um, I'll give you an example of things that you could think about. Like the ideas is just limitless, right? But you can think about marketing. What are some things that different projects in general do to help or use the community and help them market the project or bring more people into that project? We think about entertainment and skills. What do many projects do to put people's skills and stuff on display? What type of competitions do they have? Like the the goals are actually just endless as far as the different missions and activities that people can do. Like if you can think of it, that's what we can do with the Clan Wars, literally.
Very
Right.
nice.
And just to address too, like there's going to be different types of ways to get points, right? So some of them will be active and will require kind of effort, right? But other ways will be passive as well, right? Where you can just have NFTs in your possession that will give you points, whether that's from our collection or one of the partnered projects that we're trying to highlight. So it's it's kind of built and designed in an intelligent way where both people who have more time but maybe not as much in their wallet can help and contribute and make their clan more competitive, but also the people who don't have as much time but maybe have more in their collection, right? And everything in between. So it's really done in a thoughtful way.
Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty lush, to be honest. Um, did you have any reservations about minting during CNFT Con?
It
So
was definitely a conversation. I'll say that, right? Like, yeah, it was funny too because it wasn't what we kind of set out to do, but it also like because it was obvious, when we picked that date that it was something that was going to be a thing, right? And ultimately what we kind of decided was one, there wasn't near as much, at least at the time we made the decision, there nobody else was minting during that time. Raccoons, I think, has since had like part of their mint kind of come into play there, but for the most part, right, like there's a lot of projects minting before and lot of projects minting after. So it didn't seem very crowded. We have a mobile friendly mint, so you can mint from your phone very easily. It's a classic style like address mint. Um, and we kind of figure, right? Like if one, there doesn't seem to be too many people going to CNFT Con, at least from like the way that my ear is to the ground. But then even if you are, like, because of the fact that we're so easy to mint on the go, and if we do our job right, if you're in Las Vegas because you love Cardano NFT so much, what better thing is there to do than like mint while you're at CNFT Con, right? So that was kind of the methodology and the thinking behind it, where we were just like, okay, like that's not an insurmountable kind of obstacle, right? And unfortunately, because of the way like of how we structured everything and the timing and how everything was kind of built out, it just kind of seemed like the best option based on all of the factors that we had to consider, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a thing that sort of like you first hear it and you think, wow, that's kind of crazy, and then sort of like the more you think about it, the more it makes sense, you know.
And it's funny because even more interesting. So I was against it at first. Like the team would tell you I was not for it. But as I thought about it, I started thinking of many of the pros that like Blano he just mentioned. It's not a lot of projects that's going to be mentioned, right? So you think about the calendar, you think about how many people actually in this demographic in this space is not going. You think about content creators when they're talking about mints this week and things like all of those things play a very important role as to why this actually could be the best time to actually mint during this 3 week period because like even one of the content creators talked about us on his podcast, but it was just because he was like, okay, who's minting this week, and had no choice but to talk about us. So it's just one of those things like
Yeah,
it brings a lot more attention than the fact that we're going to have our artists at CNFT Con displaying their work and giving people tattoos, convincing them, hey, this part of our work, you should mint these guys. So it's actually turned out to be more so a blessing, if anything, and give us something to do. All of us that's not going to CFT Con, Ancient Dragon Alliance got their Discord open, ready to party. But I plan on having more fun than them in Vegas. Just saying.
yeah, facts on that one. So, I mean, it's a dirty question that kind of slips its way into most AMAs these days. But obviously, we are in a fairly low point in the space right now with the bear market and everything like that. Have you got any concerns that you might have less demand than you think?
I mean, you always want to be prepared. I'll say that, right? We feel like we have a pretty good read on the demand that we have. I will say a huge portion of our community that's registered to Mint are core community members and have been solid friends in the space with us across multiple other projects. And so we know we're going to get a good amount of support for sure. That being said, we're very aware of what the market's like and how things are going right now with projects and mints. So we're prepared for any eventuality. We're 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 very convinced we're going to do very well during our upcoming mint starting tomorrow. That being said, we have a lot of plans on like how to pivot, how to support, how to incentivize, and do that kind of stuff. Another thing I want to clarify is even if we didn't mint a single relic tomorrow, the project's still going forward. We're going to continue to build the community. We're going to be out there in spaces all across Twitter, getting our names out there, getting our project out there, making sure we're talking with the community all across the space, getting people to know who we are. And we'll continue building that community right up into our primary collection. But I have zero doubt that we're going to do very well tomorrow. Um, and we're prepared for any eventuality. We don't have to mint out the collection to continue. So we're really excited for it, no matter how it goes. But yeah, we're pretty convinced it's going to go pretty well.
So I've been looking through your Twitter as we've been chatting away, and something I've noticed has been an awful lot of posts saying, "I pay tribute to the dragons of old Dragon Alliance. May my tribute please them, that I might acquire a piece of the power they once held." And then some pretty crazy images being posted with that as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this promotion?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of my favorite things. So that's another ethos on the project is we really want to be organic and genuine, right? So you'll notice that our Discord isn't full of bots. Our Twitter account isn't botted up. Our Discord following and our Twitter following are really close to each other, actually, right? Within like 60 members or
Oh,
something.
nice.
Um, yeah, exactly. And one of the things we want to avoid, especially since we're not all locked down in COVID anymore, right? Like the NFT space was really different, over the last few years. But now people are getting back to normal, living their daily lives, going to their jobs, dealing, supporting their families, being with their kids, right? And like, it's so hard to grind 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, so you can get to level 10 or 20 to get a whitelist, right? And we didn't want to do that, man. We didn't want to put people through that or try to put that expectation on people. We didn't want to hold invite contests as well. That can really inflate Discord numbers and make things look really good. But honestly, you're just inviting a bunch of shadow accounts and bots into your servers. So we really wanted to make our whitelist available in a variety of unique, fun, and supportive and creative ways for our community, right? So, like, if you're a member of the community, and you wanted to draw, trace, color, build, mold, sculpt your own dragon, take a photo of it outside with your Discord name, and then upload that special tweet to promote the project, we were more than happy to give you a whitelist. And it's so much more healthy to do things like that, to be a part of the community, than have to try to like fake your engagement, for 8 hours a day, for 5 days in order to be able to get a whitelist. So we really wanted to offer a variety of creative outlets, ways for people to express themselves and kind of like celebrate all of the unique people in our community. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one wind moon in our Discord.
You see, that's a surprisingly bullish thing to hear, actually, because the more people are focused on selling, the more the price is going to drop, and the more the FUD's going to come about, and everything like that. So, I mean, the fact that people are all about holding and not about selling, that's really really bullish.
I'll say I've seen some wind moons, but they're facetious. They're not serious. Crypto
Yeah.
Stonkers, shout out to him. He does it all the time because he's prompting me because he knows I'll respond with a gift right in kind.
So I was going to ask you what the meme slash gift game of the community is like.
Top tier, like
Yeah.
best in the space, I'll say. Like it's really really good. Like we because the way we kind of started our community, right, is that a lot of us, because we've been in this space for so long and we've developed such good relationships with so many people across the space, we actually handpicked a lot of our community members, like, and gave them a little bit of early access to the Discord before we opened it up to the public. But we were able to kind of pick out the like rock stars, like the best people in the space, a lot of project founders, a lot of just, people who make the best memes, make the best gifs. So we got like a real solid core group of rock stars, right? Like, and so yeah, I can say confidently, like top tier, best gift game in all of the CNFT space. I'll say it.
On
Yeah.
top On top of that, though, we have a series of commands that, once again, like everything else that we do, is the tip of the iceberg of what we can and will provide to our community. Things like the command !dragon or GM good morning or GN good night will give you gifts of dragons doing different things. So we've kind of taken out any type of work. All you have to do is put a command and you get a really nice dragon, right? So our space and our community is filled with memes and filled with gifts in all of the best ways, right?
Yeah, I mean that sounds lush as anything, and I'm kind of a dragon fan myself. So the fact that I can just press a couple of buttons and get dragon sent to me just sounds absolutely awesome, to be honest.
It is, and it's been extremely well received. When Jason had created these commands, we ourselves loved it so much that we brought it to the community, and the level of engagement that we've gotten from those specific commands have been more than we could have ever imagined.
It's just a lot of fun, right? Like we have these tools at our disposal, but some people don't make the best use of them, right? Like it's just a customized Me 6 bot with some love put into it, right? So like when you're saying goodnight to your friends and you type in exclamation mark good night, you'll get one of a range of sleeping dragon gifts, right? It's just the little things like that, they just add so much more flavor and enjoyment, I think.
No, I think that's really, really awesome as it goes. Um, so I've kind of avoided asking because I think you want to keep at least some of it on the down low. But are you able to announce any of the projects that you're going to be partnering with for the clan wars and other bits and pieces you've got going on?
I feel like I can name one, right? Can
You
I
can
name
name
one?
at least two because they're obvious, right?
Of course, we're going to be partnering with Frog Factory and Space Pugs. That's a given, you
Hey, that's
know.
what we like to hear.
But we it's funny because we're think it's a lot of projects that we can, right? Because again, like we have several community managers here that's involved in other projects, and they have connections. And then you have me and Lav, who interviewed a lot of projects. So it's about strategically reaching out to those projects at certain moments and seeing what new projects that maybe is interested in working with us, and we can work out something. But cough cough, I see Santario down there. But so it's we have a list of projects that we definitely probably work with at some point for our clan wars.
Yeah, I mean, I can't admit to holding any Frog Factory, unfortunately. Though that's kind of on my list of projects that like I would like to get one when I get the chance. And I don't have any Space Pugs, but I do have some Space Pugs Poker Club stuff floating around, waiting for some use for when you guys fancy a game of poker one day.
Absolutely. I think poker is kind of that universal code that a lot of projects seem to do and incorporate in some way. But oh man, yeah, Adam is such a great guy. We've had the luxury of being part of his community and being able to talk to him as founders, kind of sharing different tactics and just being part of that echelon. And Frog Factory, they're doing something so unique with their Dangerous Darts Weekly. Yeah, absolutely. You should definitely support as much as you can because we love them. They're part of our family as well.
And it's a lot of projects that sometimes even all of everybody in this entire in this stage and in this room right now can probably attest to this. There's projects that you almost forget about because there's so many. And it's a lot of good projects that
Yeah.
I'm a part of. And when we were doing a marketing run, reaching out for collabs, I forgot some of the relationships that I have in the space, and that I'm pretty sure Jason probably felt the same way. Lav probably felt, so it's a lot of projects that we have a mutual respect for each other that I'm sure that they would be more than welcome to doing some type of partnership. It's a lot of projects, just in general. It's just an overwhelming amount of projects, a lot of good ones too.
Well, that's the thing, and everyone's so happy to work with each other and do collabs, and try to boost each other up. It's a great feeling in the space.
Absolutely. And a lot of the collaboration front that you see between project kind of stop there, whether it's you're exchanging whitelists or you're doing a poker tournament together. We wanted to kind of go against that grain. And really, if we do partner up with a specific project, we want to give them the spotlight that we as the core team and our community feel that they deserve, right? So it won't just stop at that stereotypical collaboration that we're used to in this space. We really want to make every effort to show people that, yeah, our project might be different than the other project, but we're all in the same space And if we can build this together, we can attract some of that big money from Ethereum and all those other chains and really show them that, yeah, no, if you support this project, you're supporting the whole suite of projects that are all working together to build this NFT space as a whole.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like more partnership, less collaboration, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So when oh, sorry, how long after mint is all this information going to start, quote unquote, leaking out?
I was gonna let somebody else talk. So our primary collection will be minting sometime in November, and we plan on releasing the light paper and clan paper before then. So within the next month or so, a lot of this information will be coming out.
So, a random question I do like to ask people when they come on the AMAs here is, what was the first CNFTs that you guys ever minted?
Oh, I could I could start that one because it's still not a pain point anymore. I do believe that there's a silver lining in everything, rug or not, right? But I don't know if anybody knows this project, but it was a project called Bloobs versus Blobs, and it was one of the
I
first
remember that one.
clay.
I remember that one.
And it was
Yeah.
just it was more so not for the project itself because I've been in the crypto space for about 3 or 4 years now. It was really my brain saying, okay, if you're going to do this, just do it. Doesn't matter which project it is, be a part, engage so that there's really no turning back from that. And that was just the project that I liked. I liked that it was clay. I've always kind of had a special place in my heart for that type of art. And I said, why not? And then I honestly forgot about it until maybe 3 months ago. I looked at the Discord, which was at the bottom of all of the Discords I'm part of,
Yeah.
and it was as rugged as it could possibly be. So
Oh dear.
I'd love to jump into this. So, it was a pretty neat experience actually. So my first ever Cardano NFT was a Hosky cash grab. Um,
Nice.
yeah, just legendary people. Those people. What an amazing community. Just outstanding people. Um, Before that, I had been into crypto for many years, but it took me a long time to convert over to NFTs. Um, I wasn't into them for the longest time, and it took people and communities quite a while for them to convince me that NFTs were really worth my time. And part of the way that I was convinced is through communities. So because I was big into cryptocurrencies and tokens and stuff like that, um, I saw Cardano's first like major meme coin was the Hosky token, right? And so they had their doggy bowl going, and they were doing halving so often. So over time, you were paying more for Hosky token. And then they came out with their cash grabs, and I was already involved in the community, and they were all a bunch of great people, just masters of memes and having a good time. And so I minted my first couple of Hosky cash grabs, and wouldn't you know it, I got a couple of rare ones, and I made my first profit in NFTs, and the rest is history. I was hooked after that, right?
Yeah.
So
Three
that
hundred
was the
thousand
first time.
NFTs later, and
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
mean, what the
exactly.
hell? 300,000
pretty much.
NFTs. Like, I mean,
What a
that has to be a
bestseller.
record from one project, right?
It has to be, right? Like you like you can't say a lot of projects. That might be a world record for a project mint,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like
mean, I don't imagine even any Ethereum mint selling like even half that, or even like, or even like 10% of that. To be honest.
oh man, so good, so good. So many great memories with those people. They're like a vast majority of that community is involved in a lot of other projects and Cardano in general. And I couldn't say better things about them. They have an ethos and atmosphere of like memeing and trolling, right? That's kind of like their whole MO, but just a bunch of great people.
For me, my experience was literally a roller coaster. I came in from Ethereum, but only in the play to earn sector. I was mostly in like Gala games, spending like stuff for gaming and stuff like that. Those NFTs. Um, but after I paid a couple gas fees, I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. Um,
Yeah.
but I when I came to CNFT space, it took me a while to get my first NFT. My first NFT was not a mint. Um, I end up getting a boss cat. I came in literally after boss cat minute. It was sometime in January. It was like right after they start, like when they was just on that uptrend. And I think I got my boss cat like around 700 to 800.
Nice.
Um, so that was my very first CNFT that I had grabbed. And the first project I minted was actually, I didn't think about that until just now. Officially, the first project that I minted was proxies.
Oh,
I
very nice.
minted a couple proxies in January. That's when they had the original 500 that was released.
Nice.
So technically, that was my first mint. Now, my first Degen mint was where I met this wonderful guy,
Oh
Lavender
no.
Jones, which was Cyber Horse Club. Um, and I'll just leave that at that because we're actually going to explain that story in the upcoming special podcast. But yeah, that was a very but it led us here like that. When you hear that story, which we definitely gonna make sure you get an invite to that. When you hear that
Oh,
story,
hell yeah.
you're gonna think it's interesting how that led us all the way up to right now where we at. So I wouldn't take that back for nothing.
That's cool. I mean, it's a
Right.
name that doesn't immediately pop up with any memories for me, so that's even more intriguing to me, to be honest.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, my first one, at least in the Cardano space, because everything I did before that was really not very noteworthy, but was Stick Fricks by
Nice.
Jack,
Yeah.
the YouTuber. Yeah, so, and I mean, that's what got me into it, because kind of like Jason, I didn't really start in NFTs. I really started in the fungible token kind of protocol side. Like I fell in love with Cardano as a blockchain. And it was just that was actually my gateway drug that led to like Lion Legends and everything else that followed, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, sort of like for all of you guys, like what brought you into the crypto space and Cardano as well, and what kind of backgrounds do you have?
Absolutely. So I went to school for psychology, more so in the specialization of neuroscience. I've always been a fan and advocate of mental health. I've always been fascinated with the human experience, both individually and in a group setting. I think that's why I love this space so much because there is so many different, unique people all coming together for something like an NFT. I just find so fascinating. I got into the crypto space just because it became a buzzword. What was this? I think it was around 5 years ago. And I have two other older brothers. I'm the youngest of three. And we all kind of collectively decided to switch our focus from the Forex market into cryptos because it was new and exciting. So we had our Litecoin, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum. It wasn't until one of my good friends, lifelong friends, said, dude, you got to listen to this guy, Charles. He is speaking things that I've never heard about before. And it took a little bit of convincing at first, but I got into Cardano at about, I want to say, 5 cents, something like that. And we all just kind of bulled into it, and that catapulted us into the community side of cryptocurrency, and that led us, or led me to where I am today.
And what about the rest of you guys?
So I have a really funny experience actually. I started way back in 2014. I was always fascinated by Bitcoin and the thought of internet money and the ability to be able to send and receive money over the internet instead of largely the cash we were using at the time. And so I was always interested in technical stuff. Like I was building computers, installing Windows, fixing people's computers for money, all that kind of stuff back then. So I was a bit of a techie, a bit of a nerd for that kind of stuff. But it was too late to mine Bitcoin with graphics cards at the time. They were just starting to move into ASICs and or all that kind of stuff. And then I was looking at mining Ethereum, doing all this stuff, and then Dogecoin came out, and I used my two HD 7850s to start mining a ton of Dogecoin because it was like a big meme token at the time. But there was a lot of really cool community and marketing around it. There was big hype all over Reddit. I was really into Reddit at the time, and we had these awesome Doge memes everywhere. But I was mining just a ton of that, and then I loved playing poker too. So I was playing crypto poker and doing all this kind of stuff. But it was just like play money that I was like, making for free with my graphics cards and stuff like that. I wasn't taking it too seriously, which is quite unfortunate because had I actually kept the amount of Dogecoin that I had mined, like up until a year or two ago, I would have walked away. I calculated about 780,000 US dollars
Oh, Jesus.
had I just held it, right? But hindsight's 2020. You can't see that kind of stuff coming 7 or 8 years, into the future, right? We didn't have a crypto history back then, but yeah, that's my foray into the very start of my crypto journey right there.
So you're another $70 million pizza guy then with Bitcoin, basically.
Hey, it's not profit unless you take it, right? That's why I always tell people.
Oh no, that's actually highly important. Like, don't turn your nose up at quote unquote only making 10% in a day, because that's infinitely better than what you'll get in most other legal ways of making money anyway.
Exactly.
Oh, and people like, it's perspective, right? Like traditional markets and traditional investing and money making, like if you make 10-15% a year, like
Yeah,
that's
you're a
good
god.
money,
You're a god
right?
at that point.
You're killing it, right? Like absolutely, that's unreal money to be making 10-15% per year in the stock markets or investing. It's just nuts. Right. So for some perspective, right, like just like you said, like if you're making profits in days or months in those percentage ranges, like you're doing very, very well.
Yeah.
So
So,
for me,
oh, go
I'll
on.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My story a little bit shorter. I got in some years ago because there's this website that you can watch all of American football games for the entire year for like $40, but he only would accept Bitcoin. So I didn't have no choice because I'm a football fanatic. I had no choice but to sign up for Coinbase and start buying crypto in order to fund that, right? Then as time went on, get notifications from Coinbase and stuff. I started dollar cost averaging in certain coins. Didn't really do no research, and it was like a year and a half ago. There was this one project that came about, and it was on Telegram. And long story short, I got rugged really bad. Um, but that led up to last year when I started like really digging into like crypto. Cause I was like, yeah, this can never happen again. I refuse to get rugged by somebody that I can't track and different things like that. So I started digging in. I started investing in like certain altcoins like Poly, Matic or whatever. Different blockchains, and I stumbled upon Cardano and was like, oh, same as Lav almost. Listening to Charles was like, man, Eureka, like, wow, this is just amazing. And that eventually led me over eventually into the CNFT space, but I was just a dollar cost averager, and I did research on a bunch of projects, lost a bunch of money in IDOs, and uh, won some money in some big ROI pyramid crypto schemes and lost a bunch of money in the same type of schemes. It was My journey was very interesting. I've literally been in almost a little bit of everything when it comes to crypto in such a short period of time.
That's funny because the guy that's not here that's on the core team is the one that kind of pulled me into crypto. I've kind of been tangential to it for a very long time because I got a brother-in-law who's kind of financially free because he was in on Bitcoin super early. But for us, right, like Marty and I have been really good friends for a long time, but he had some kind of misses, right, where he sold too early on a few noteworthy things like Bitcoin, and then again on Shiba Inu, right? Like he had like
Yeah.
some ungodly amount of Shiba Inu that he sold before it boomed up like crazy, and he was there like when the creator of Shiba Inu was like getting it started, like before it even really
Damn.
launched, he was there for that. And so when he missed on that one, he called me up wanting to start his own thing. And so he kind of uses me as a litmus test where he's like, "Am I crazy? Could we do this?" And I had said, right, like you're not crazy. There's definitely something here. And so we got started just basically he was more comfortable on the EVM side, but because Ethereum's gas fees were ridiculous, especially back like a year ago, right? Like we started out in Binance, just using it almost like a live test net and really cut our teeth doing a lot of stuff more on the token side than anything with NFTs. But as I always do, I just went headlong into everything blockchain related, learning blockchains as a data structure, and that deep dive led me to Cardano because I didn't like so many things, right? And a lot, like some of the other people have echoed, like Charles really kind of grabbed me. And then learning about the intricacies and the differences of like the UTXO architecture and all those sort of things, it just Cardano to me is the right fit for the future. So it didn't make sense to me to build on any other chain. So I got really good at like understanding and knowing Cardano and then started learning. And that led me into the NFT space. And that's when I kind of finally pulled Marty back into where we are now. And he's been a rock star, right? Like he does all our social media, he makes the videos, he's also the guy who coded the sniping bot, right? And we, along with the other guys here, we make a great team. So it's really been a blessing. Everything's kind of come full circle. What I do for a living, I'm an accountant slash financial analyst. So I've got an MBA and a 4.0 GPA. So that kind of data analysis combined with just my experience in the CNFT space as like a community manager for a couple of projects, like that's what I kind of bring to the team.
No, I mean that's all highly important, and I mean the knowledge of how to run a business is actually very important in this world.
Oh, absolutely. Each NFT project runs very similar to a business. You know, you have somewhat employees or contractors in a lot of sense of the word. And what works in the marketing side, at the very least, will work in some capacity to NFT projects. And it's nice that we do all have experience in running projects, whether part of someone else's companies or something along those nature. And yeah, there is a whole lot of similarity between the two.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys like incorporated anywhere or anything like that?
We have not as of right now. It's definitely something that we've talked about at length. But along with what Jason had said, we don't want to overpromise anything unless we have the very structured groundworks to show people what we're doing.
So the other question I was going to ask, obviously, I don't need all the details of what you got planned at this point, but how far ahead into the future does your internal roadmap go?
Oh, at least a year. And then I would say longer than that, but there's so much work and it depends on so many things happening in the space as we go that despite the fact that we have plans loosely that could run into multiple years, um, we can't really confirm that is going to happen for sure the way we perceive it now, right? Like the market changes so much, the environment changes so much, even the blockchain advances and grows so much, and what's capable in smart contracts and stuff changes so much, as well as like all of the other tools and utility just in the space on the blockchain itself and in the community will evolve so much between now and more than a year from now, that even though we are planning and trying to plan multiple years ahead, I can say confidently that our foundational roadmap and what we plan to do is a good solid year right now. And then even though we're looking at things beyond that and what our project will grow into, and sort of how we'll structure all of that, we don't want to say anything beyond that, of course, because it's
Yeah.
just an emerging environment and too much will change, right? But yeah, a good solid year at least.
No, I mean, I think that's important for people that are going to be minting to understand that, that you do have at least a year of content planned already, and then obviously with option to go further. Because there's a big difference between that and somebody saying, well, we've got the next couple of months sorted out, and after that I'll leave it up to the community. Which
Well,
there's definite positives to that approach, but they're not all positives.
well,
Right. I'll say it's important for us to stay flexible for a lot of the reasons that Jason said, but we do have a plan in mind, and we've got a lot of things preloaded and built, ready to go. And the whole idea of how we've structured the project, right, is so that we can keep a really good cadence for updates at a good pace, right? Like especially Jason and I having been community managers for the length of time that we have, we've really kind of felt to our core how much it hurts a community to wait too long in between those deliverables,
Yeah,
right? So that's why
yeah,
we're
for
kind of
sure.
careful about what we talk about. And trying not to give everything away right at the beginning just to build that hype up and sell out, because we know on the other end of that, right, you got to be real careful, because if you promise the sun, the moon, and the stars and then you have to wait too long in between those things, it can really hurt you. And it's important for the health of the community, right, that kind of number goes up and that you do better over time. So we put a lot of thought and planning into kind of planned surprises, right? And structured moments and how these things unfold. And I think because of our experience, especially in that area of dealing with community management, there's probably a lot more thought and focus on that section of the project that we have than any other project in the space that I've experienced.
And I would. That's really, really well said, Blaine. I couldn't agree more with that myself. And just to touch on what Toolson was saying, where some projects will say, "Oh, we've got a couple months of development out, and then we'll just kind of wing it with the community." Even though we do have a solid year worth of planned development and engagement and deliverables and what we want to do, we're also flexible and we can pivot, right? So like if new things come out or new things are done, if the community wants something done a certain way, or we have a vision for something that we think, the community would like, but we keep our ear to the ground and kind of our finger on the pulse of the community, and the community says that they want something slightly differently, or they would really like this, or to think about that, right? We can pivot in that sense too, right? So we really want to work with the community, so even though we have solidified plans and we have stuff to deliver, you know, and have a roadmap, we will be flexible in the sense that we will adjust to what we believe and what we feel the community is communicating to us as well to some degree.
Yeah, because I mean, it's important that you have your own vision for the project. Like it's one thing to take on community suggestions and community feedback and everything like that, but there does need to be a good strong vision behind the project, and I think that's reflected in your art as well, because it's obviously it's incredibly striking, and I've not even spent that much time talking about it yet. I mean, 180 traits over sort of like 5,000 NFTs is actually a surprisingly decent chunk, actually, when you think about it.
It really is, and we've seen like entire categories of traits fully completed, and we've leaked so little of it, right? Like, as you can tell just by some of the PFPs here and some of the sneak peeks in our server, the traits are so varied in style and look that the collection is going to have a huge range of very distinct looks for dragons. So that's something we're really excited about. And something else I haven't touched on is, of course, because they're tattoo artists, the NFTs really have a richness of color to them. Like, I'm a guy who loves colors. I love art, right? And no shade to anyone, but I see a lot of that kind of like 2D Fiverr art out there, right? And in the space. And then I look at our collection and I'm just in awe at like the richness and the color and, like you said, like the shading and the effort put into the detail. I'm just blown away by the work that they do, and I couldn't be more proud or happy to know that that's actually a collection that we're bringing to Cardano.
Yeah, and so it was the relic statues tomorrow, and then we've got to hang on with our breaths held until you announce the full mint of the dragons themselves in November. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And after we mint out our relics, plan to see a whole lot more of our profile picture main 2D collection. And everything that we do in this project comes with a strew of intentionality. And we didn't want to overshadow the relics and the utility that comes with them. But once that's all well and said, you will see some traits that you've never seen in the space before, and I think we're confident when we say you will be blown away by what we will be releasing on top of what we already have.
Yeah. So, is there anything that I've managed to avoid touching on yet?
Honestly, I think you did a great job. I speak for myself. If there's anyone on my team that feels there's anything that needs clarity.
About the only thing we really didn't talk too much was the story, which is fine, but that's pretty much
Yeah, I
it.
kind of got the feeling that that was all to be released still.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like we released one kind of major story so far, that kind of details the ancient, like basically there was a clan war a long time ago between the original dragons, and the story takes place then. And we've got a few stories coming out that'll detail what happened to the dragons, and then where the relics kind of come into the story because they play a significant part in the story, and how we also do YouTube videos. So if you check out our YouTube, you can see Marty made a couple of really great um, journal entry stories that were written by Froboy, a member of our staff, right? And it's just really cool of how people in modern day coming across these dragon relic statues, like how they find them and what happens. So they're these kind of beautiful, like written things turned into a video that are like firsthand accounts of people getting into it. So it's kind of cool. We got this really multimedia approach to lore, and so you can check that out in our Discord, YouTube, all those cool areas.
So yeah, I do really want to thank you guys for showing up. It's great when I get a big turning out from a team, and obviously everyone that's coming in and joined us as well this evening. Like, you guys are all absolute troopers, and yeah, it was good to see you all streaming in actually, because yeah, I mean, I've there's been a few recently with a slightly fewer number of people joining. It's good to see the space picking up again. Actually, there's been quite the surge in the market, sort of like over the last little bit, showing that there's definite signs of life here, there, and everywhere. And I think that the your mint time might be surprisingly awesome as it goes.
I really hope so, for sure, for sure. And it's so nice to see some positive price action in the space and
Yeah.
for projects to get the respect they deserve, right? Like, I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be happier for the Ape Society. They've put in that work. They're delivering, right? They've built an incredible community, and they fought long and hard to get to where they are, and they absolutely deserve it. Mallards are just killing it right now. I know Teds have jumped up a whole bunch. Like, there's a lot of good quality projects that are building. They're out there in the space. They're getting to know the communities, right? They're growing their communities. They're delivering great work. And it's so good for us to be able to see positive price action in the market as well. I would love to see it, start to be a bit of a turnaround in the market, but at the very least, it's good to see the community still here. They still believe in the projects they're invested in, and we're not going away anytime soon. So, yeah, that's a nice little positive uplift in the last couple of weeks here. Hey, that was great to see.
And I definitely want to also just shed light on one particular thing for all those who are minting tomorrow. For the statues, this
Yeah.
is just the beginning. Like, you see the relics, you see the heritage relics also, and what utility that those hold. Um, just think about, if we can do that, what can we do in the future?
Yeah,
So
you
hopefully-
shush.
Don't be giving away any state secrets now.
No, we would
no,
never.
we're not. But just saying, like, I'm trying to tell you, although there's gonna be a lot of excited people that get into this project. I can't wait to see how much they enjoy what we got planned for them, as far as the relics themselves. Like, we talked about all of this stuff, and we still ain't even touched the surface of the relics. So it's just gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Ways
going to
to
lie.
this
I'm
project is
gonna have
ridiculous.
to make sure I turn up for the public mint myself. I think.
Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate that.
I'm very quietly sold on this project. I know I'm supposed to be like impartial and the arbiter of questions and all this sort of shit, but no, I actually really quite like this stuff, and
I mean, yeah.
I'm going to be in.
We're all degenerates at heart, right? Especially being in the NFT space. So we appreciate you kind of taking yourself out of the role of the interviewer, and I mean that we've done our jobs, right? We take every opportunity. We will continue to do so to share what we've been building all this time. We've always wanted to scream this from the rooftops, right? In a large capacity, but
Yeah.
we have to be intentional with how we deliver and the optics around that. So absolutely, we thank you so much for hosting us and allowing us to share what we're so passionate about, which is the crypto space as a whole, the NFT community, and more specifically our project. But Blaine, I know that you wanted to say something as well.
I was just gonna, say that it's definitely not the final form of the relic with the heritage part, and that's all we'll say on that one. That they're gonna be, an evolving kind of thing, right? Like, it's going to change over time a little bit. But yeah, it's cool. So we're happy to have you along, man. You're a legend. This is CNFT Tools and you, man. So stop by the Discord at any time. We'll roll out the red carpet for you, dude.
Yeah, don't do that. You're going to make me blush now.
I also want to say, like, that's such a huge compliment coming from you, right? Like you're experienced in the NFT space quite thoroughly, right? Like, you've been around the block, you know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And it's really easy to be a moon boy when you're in, like, the founding team of your project and you're watching what you're building coming to life. Like, it's so easy to be so enamored with, like, the work you're putting together and put out. But to see, an unbiased source that's not involved in the project or the community take a look at what we're building and listen to an AMA like this and say that you're sold on the project is a tremendous compliment and a nice reassurance that we see this project in the same light that someone outside of the project might see. So thanks for that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that, because if you talk to any single one of my friends, they'll just tell you that I've given your project a death knell. Like, so be careful what you wish for.
We'll let him in. Invite only.
Oh, sorry, our Discord's closed.
Oh dear, but no, I do love the projects I'm invested in. I'm very good at investing in things that I like as opposed to investing in things that make money, and I'm quite happy with that at this point. Like, I got into the space originally because, like everyone, I wanted to make some money, but instead I've made like so many new friends and contacts and people I can go to and ask about any type of situation you could possibly imagine. Like it's wonderful, and that's what keeps me here.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all, like you said, we all join the space to make a little bit of money. But having that balance and what it's transformed into for many of us has been so amazing and so unbelievable in a lot of ways. So yeah, we're right there with you, man.
Yeah, we plan to bring the fun, so we got you covered too.
Damn straight. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. I think I get off work at about 90 minutes before the public mint. So yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, I mean there was a reason why I was asking about the whether there's any whitelist spots available earlier. So I'm going to have to scrap it out in public. Well, that killed the conversation.
Oh yeah, no worries. I just sometimes we want to give each other a moment to talk, right? So sometimes
Yeah.
we'll need a bit of a
And
moment
yeah,
of silence.
and yeah, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
it any other way. Like
Or
I
maybe,
I quite enjoy
maybe
fighting it out on public mints anyway, because there's a much higher sense of anticipation of well, there's a chance I might not
100%.
get one, you know.
there's yeah,
Exactly.
and there's not a huge price difference either, so we wanted to make sure that public was still attractive and that there wasn't too much of a discrepancy or benefit to people who got whitelist. We wanted to make sure they had some benefit and were appreciated, but not enough for it to be like sometimes you have projects with huge discounts for whitelist versus public, and that can wreak havoc with the floor on secondary and like sentiment of the people who paid more for them versus the people who paid less. So we wanted to tighten that gap a little bit, so that it's still a little bit more fair in that sense, but still provides some benefit to our whitelisted and the people who put in the effort there as well. And you never know, it might just drop into your DMs in a little bit here or something. We'll see.
Sounds
I
good.
think
Sounds
that's
good.
more so than anything why none of us were talking. So I'm glad you said that, Jason.
Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, again, massive thank you to everybody here that's turned up, whether you're on the Ancient Dragons team or whether you're somebody that's turned up and listened. Obviously, if you're watching this back on YouTube, there will be links below to the project and their Discord server, their Twitter, and probably their YouTube channel and stuff like that. Make sure you go give them a like, give them a share. Make sure you say hello in their Discord and say hello from Cnft.tools. And yeah, we'll definitely look forward to seeing you all back here again with an update, perhaps in the next few months.
Oh, absolutely. We would love for you to host us again. And on top of what you just said, if there's any questions that you may have on our project in any capacity, please feel free to ask us. That's why we're here. We aren't going anywhere. That's why we decided a long time ago, even before this project, to be completely doxxed. We're an open book in a lot of ways. Obviously, we're not going to share our secrets, but we really want to encourage people to ask questions, especially if it means they want to engage in our project and just learn more about it. So
Yeah, anyone else want to say anything before we round this off?
No, just thank you for hosting us, and we really appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you at the mint party tomorrow.
Hell yeah! But yeah, thank you again, everyone, for turning up. And yeah, we'll have another AMA here soon. Make sure you keep an eye out for the announcements on the Discord server. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Enjoyed it.
yeah, this is a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, and cheerio.